At times it's difficult to see the lack of progress. This has been especially so after 2009, which is when there was a major meeting of the so-called Conference of the Parties in Copenhagen, and nothing much happened. And so finally, the kind of things we had hoped would happen in Copenhagen have happened in Paris last year. And so 2015, we've lost 6 years. I think that once certain changes are made, and in particular, I think one of the things that is needed is to put a price on carbon and to stop subsidizing fossil fuels. If we can do that in some way, then the whole economic system is apt to change. The incentives change and the private sector gets on board. And I think once the private sector is on board, then amazing things can happen. You know, we can see this now with some of the developments of electric cars, or even cars that don't require drivers, that some of this technology can develop. And given some of the incentives that occur when there are the changes in the overall incentives, which probably requires some kind of a role of government, especially through the taxes or the fees and the incentives that are needed in order for some of the renewable energy to really take off and develop strategies for how to deal with what is called the intermittency problem, the fact that sun only shines during the day, so there's no solar power at night. The wind is intermittent. I'm a big fan, actually, of hydroelectric power, because you can store water behind dams, and if you can couple the wind power and the solar power with hydroelectric power, then you can use the hydroelectric power at the times when you run out of sun and wind. And so building systems that use these kind of complementary aspects of the different energy systems, plus spatial differences, so that transmission of energy becomes important and battery power becomes important. And that's one of the things we've seen that's very encouraging in recent times, is the tremendous change in the way in which batteries work. So all of these things point to me in directions that, you know, maybe if we can cross some threshold, you know, things might really radically change, and that the economy of the future, say 20 or 30 years from now, might actually be really very different than it is today. And it's going to have to be, or the consequences will be, I hate to think of them.